This is a work of fiction. Any names, places, or events resembling real people or incidents are coincidental.
Unit 12, we've got a call about an abandoned vehicle at Ridge Trailhead. The owners have not returned. Please respond.
Alan and Margery Webb left for a weekend hike on the 6th of May, 2021. They never returned. What happened on that ridge is a mystery the town still whispers about. A storm rolling in. They wouldn't be the first hikers to succumb to the ferociousness of nature in this part of the world. But locals offer a more sinister explanation to the disappearances over the decades. They speak of an abandoned church from which eerie hymns can be heard in the dead of night.
They always came back. Always. They'd be tired, muddy, starving, but they'd be home. That weekend felt no different. Mom texted me a picture of the trail map before they left. Just a little heart emoji. She said, "Be good. See you Sunday night." They never missed a Sunday night.
The Webbs packed light. Boots, jackets, a map folded in quarters, snacks for the drive. Weather reports warned of storms. They left anyway. Friends said it was typical of them. Adventurous, but not reckless. They trusted each other. Alan joked often that Margery was his compass. If she points right, I'll never go left.
They were the couple you pointed at and said, "That's what I want when I'm older." They had their bickering, sure, but nothing stuck. Alan adored her. Everyone knew it.
Their destination was Ridge Trail, a loop known for steep climbs and long views. But it was also known for something else. The boarded shell of St. Cecilia's chapel, sitting empty since the 1950s. Locals called it the church that sings when no one's inside.
You've got to be careful if you go out on that trail. Lots of hikers never come back. I moved here just about 5 years ago, and 4 people have gone missing on that trail already. The authorities ought to close it for good. Some of the older folk talk of an abandoned church out there in the wilderness. These mountain folk sure can be superstitious. They say the church consumes those that go missing. I'm pretty sure it's just the trail.
You won't catch me going anywhere near that damn church. You can hear the singing from miles away. Voices of the lost souls.
The trail has a dangerous reputation among hikers, but the church is what the locals fear most. Alan and Margery hadn't paid it a single thought. Just another dilapidated building in the backdrop of their journey. But then, they went missing.
They were joking about beating the storm. She had this red jacket, stood out against the trees. He said something about racing the clouds. They didn't look worried. They looked alive.
Alan and Margery's SUV was recorded entering the Ridge parking lot at 2:18 p.m. By 4, rain set in. Thunder rolled across the ridge. At 4:28, both of their phones went silent. Neither would connect again. That night, the storm pounded the ridge. Searchers believe the couple looked for shelter. The only building for miles was St. Cecilia's. And if you talk to the oldest families in town, they'll tell you shelter was never what that chapel offered.
The chapel was condemned after a fire in the vestry. No congregation since. But people said if you passed it after dark, you could hear music, old hymns, full choir, always the same song. It wasn't every night, but when you heard it, you knew not to linger.
When the storm cleared, Alan and Margery Webb were gone, and there was silence once more. 3 days later, searchers traced fresh boot prints leading toward the chapel. Mud pressed into the steps, a splintered board where someone had pried inside, dust thick pews lined in neat rows, undisturbed, except for one detail. On the pulpit lay a hymnal, open to page 237. Two names, freshly written in pencil along the margin. Alan Webb, Margery Webb. It wasn't the first time. Old case files showed hymnals with other names stretching back decades. Some belonged to people still missing, others never traced at all.
In 1979, two college kids disappeared near Ridge Trail. Their names showed up in hymnals the next spring. I've seen the photographs. Same page, same hymn. Every decade or so, someone vanishes. Police chalk it up at bad weather. I'm still undecided.
People said the fire that closed the chapel was no accident. Parishioners had complained of voices echoing in the rafters, louder than the congregation, harmonies that didn't belong to anyone present. When the vestry burned, the priest locked the doors and never returned. His diary was later recovered from the rectory. The last entry read, "They do not sing for God anymore." Theories sprouted like weeds. Some said the couple were swept by the storm, bodies hidden by the ridge. Others whispered of the church, that anyone who entered during a storm became part of its choir. Locals remembered other vanishings. A hunter in 62, a family in 83. Their car found idling, headlights on, doors open. Each time a hymnal surfaced with their names, scrawled like a roll call. Some called it superstition. Others said it was history repeating itself. But the facts remained. Alan and Margery Webb entered the chapel that stormy night, and it appears as though they never left.
I hear them. In dreams, it's always the same hymn. And sometimes they're calling my name too. I walk to them. It's as if they want me to join them. Sometimes I wish I could.
Weeks later, investigators set a trail camera near the chapel. Footage captured only shadows, but the audio recorded something else. A harmony of voices, faint but distinct. Among them, two voices clearer than the rest. Alan, Margery.
It's them. I know it's them. I can hear their voices in those recordings. I have to find them. I just have to.
On the final sweep of the chapel, searchers found a hymnal sitting on the pulpit again. The same names, written larger and in blood.
I've worked search and rescue 20 years. We find people, or we find remains. This was different. I must say it feels like more than your average misstep on a watery ridge, though that's still most likely what it was.
They were never found, just like those before, gone forever to the wild of the wilderness, or lost within the hymn that never ends. Their daughter became obsessed with the church. Her grandparents grew worried of her obsession, always listening to the choir, so sure she could hear her missing parents' voices in the faint recordings. Their old ears could only hear a chilling wind. Her obsession grew louder, more consuming. She told anyone who would listen, doctors, friends, the press, that their voices were in the recordings, that the church had taken them. But grief sounds like madness when no one else hears it. After extensive evaluation, she was institutionalized. She still dreams of her parents' voice. She whistles the hymns on quiet nights, echoing the brick corridors of her asylum. The official record lists her parents as presumed dead, bodies unrecovered. The sheriff's office still calls it a storm tragedy, another pair of names lost to the ridge. And yet, on quiet nights, hikers claim the wind carries hymns down, from the boarded chapel. The words are always the same, the melody unbroken. And somewhere beneath the layers of voices, the Webbs are still singing. The church still stands, the choir still sings, and it never sings alone.